fell off the floorboards then. Hello and welcome to another video. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I've been meaning to do this for quite a while now and I've just not had a chance and haven't had the time with one thing or another. Not quite metal detecting related, sort of is, but not quite. So the house that we're in today, or what's left of it, I've been renovating now for best part of 6 months, stripping it right back to the bare walls, bare floors, and in doing so, when I lifted the floors, I found something a little bit interesting under there. But firstly, let me tell you a bit about where this house is and a bit about the history behind it. So the house is located about 300-400 yards away from a Pictish fort, one of the largest Pictish forts in Scotland. So as we started working on the house, I was trying to get a feeling for the history of it. Initially, I thought it was Victorian. The noise that you can hear is Vinny digging down underneath me. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, we initially thought it was Victorian, but it turns out it's probably a bit early. It's probably a Georgian period house as it sits now. It was originally... Vinny, stop. Let me just show you what this nutter's doing. What's down there? Vinny? What are you doing? So yeah, the house looks like it was probably Georgian. It would have been single story. And then it was extended into the sort of two-story that it is today. However, at some point throughout its history, it's been derelict. So it's gone through quite a few phases as it's sort of gone through the last couple hundred years. So as I started working on this place, lifted the floorboards, and under there I found quite a few interesting things, which I'll show you later on in the video. But firstly, I'll take you around and let you have a little look around the place. Here he is. So as I mentioned, a little bit of a work in progress. It's almost at the stage now of putting it back together. We've had the archaeologists in, talk more about that later on, and I'll show you what they found and what they think is going on. So it should be a room in here, a bathroom in there, hallway, and then another living room. And I'll take you upstairs in a minute. So quite a bit of work been going on, getting the place structurally sound again, line pointing and all that sort of thing. However, under these floorboards, as I was lifting them, we found a series of things. And the first item I found was actually in this room when I lifted the floorboards up. And just down there where we're pointing was, in fact, as I lifted the floorboards and I disturbed the earth, a fragment of Neolithic flint knife. Possibly Bronze Age, but we think it's Neolithic. Then as I was working, I started to notice lots and lots of seashell, not deposited by the sea itself. The sea's a couple of hundred metres away, but would have in fact been brought in by people who were eating, dropping the shells, bringing more in, eating them, dropping them, and they're just everywhere. In fact, actually, let me show you this, another interesting thing. Most of it's gone now because of the renovations, but I don't know if you can just see in there, but you can see the newspaper on there. That was behind all the panelling, and that's Victorian, so that was dated sort of mid to late 1800s. I can't remember exactly what the date was. There's another piece on there, but that's sort of come off with the work that's been done. So yeah. So along with the shell, I also started finding quite a few bits of pottery, and we'll show you that. So green glazeware, so 13th century or thereabouts. So medieval pottery. But then I started to discover quite a lot of bone under here. There's just been bucketfuls of the stuff, and the more you move the soil, the more you find it. So that kind of got to the point where I thought, maybe we need to get the archaeologists in here and have a look around. So the archaeologist that came in was Professor Gordon Noble from University of Aberdeen. He's the guy that heads up all the Pictish excavations here at Burghead and Mither Tap and Tappanoth and all the other places he's been doing. He's written a few books, been on Digging for Britain with Professor Alice Roberts. So he's pretty much the guru on all things Pictish. So they came in with the team, and I'll put up the photos, and they had a little dig around to see what was going on. So I was just about to go upstairs and just do a bit of filming and show you what's going on up there. And Vinny has been, as he normally does, digging in here. And it's a bit that this is right where the archaeologist was as well, actually. So, in fact, before I show you that, this is what I mean. There's just shell everywhere you look. the shells. You can see them all down there on the floor. But what I've just noticed is another bit of green glazed pottery, 13th century medieval pottery. Get in focus. There we go. So yeah, there's a lot going on under here. Pretty much everywhere you look as well, when you dig, there's bone comes up, and plenty of digging's been done because it's like a playground for him, so he just wants to play the whole time. So here's some of, I mean just a fraction of some of the bone that's come up. So there's some quite big chunky pieces under here, so lots and lots of it coming up. You can see the sort of it's not for you to eat. You can see some of the sort of cut marks in there where it's been butchered. That's not bone. Vinny, come out there. So there's lots and lots, little bits, big bits, bits of rib, bits of leg, you name it. And in there somewhere, in fact, I think there's even some teeth as well. So with that, loads and loads of pottery. So lots of this is a bit later. This is more sort of Victorian era or possibly before. There's a little creepy thing. Found that literally under the floor where I'm standing. Weird little thing. Probably needs burying again on the floor. Lots of bits of glass. So yeah, lots and lots of interesting stuff going on here. What do you think? What we also found as well, whilst we were, so before I explain that actually, all these walls were covered in lath and plaster, and then on top of that they had wood panelling, so there's like multiple layers to knock back to get at it. But as I was ripping it out, the door's gone now, but in there was this little sort of locker stroke cabinet. Got the wooden door off, got in there, and then this bottle was in there. I don't actually know what it is. It's not that old, this bottle, I don't think. Don't know if there's a date on it. Yeah, so that was in there. Under the floorboards was that old lady's sort of shopping cart thing, which is a bit random. So let me take you upstairs anyway, we can have a look. It might be a bit dark up here. Got no lights up here at the moment. So, I think the last time any work was done on this house, this has been repointed now, but in the old cement, the old render was 1959, so I think that's the last time anything was done here. But again, this will be turned back into a couple of rooms and a landing area. Under there as well, down in the floorboards, found another couple of bottles, so there's been a few random things around. But the most interesting part has been the bones and the pottery, and definitely the flint under the floor. So once the archaeologists came in and they spent a bit of time digging around, they did a few excavations, put a few pits in. Just over that side actually, we found what we thought to be the markings of what could have been a grave, but a little bit more excavation and a few hours later, and it turned out in fact it probably wasn't. So what they think it would have been was an old hearth place. This house and the ones around it were built on top of an old medieval village that obviously no longer exists. So we think it would have been, I'll put the pictures up, the hearth place for the medieval village, or a house from the medieval village that would have been sat here. The bone that came up, they think that it's potentially, possibly could have been linked with the Pictish fort. But more than likely would have been from the medieval village and then later in time, so possibly even back to the sort of Georgian Victorian era, but some of it is considerably earlier as well. We put a test pit out in the garden as well, lots and lots of pottery and lots of bone coming up in the garden as well, so it's a real busy site. So what we'll probably end up doing is coming back to this as we find more, and I'll put another video up with what else we can find that's going on in here. But be some quite interesting finds coming up so far. Haven't metal detected the garden yet, need to do that. But all the floors are coming up to get relaid and lots of work's going on, so once they're up properly we'll have another excavation around. But before we do that, I'll probably have a bit of a dig around and see if we can find anything whilst we're doing this video. So just as you scrape along, you can see all the shell coming up. Bits there, bits of muscle, more muscle, winkles and snaily things. What I'm actually looking for, normally if you scrape a little bit, watch out there, you'll find bone, but I've not seen any yet. Most parts of the floor, when you do a little bit of excavation, bits of bone come up, but obviously because I'm filming, there you go, a couple of little bits of bone there. So yeah, you don't have to look far to find bone in this house. What you found? Anything exciting? Right, there we are. It's time to head home now. I thought I'd give you guys a quick look round and show you what's going on with all the artifacts and pottery and bone and other bits and bobs. As we do more work and as I find more things, which I'm sure we will, I'll do some more videos and maybe some short reels to let you see what's happening. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do a before and after video, so like a finished product, because it's going to be an Airbnb, so I want everyone to see it so they come and stay in it and spend their money. Till the next video, take care.